this is some more yard sailing. And I'll explain this one later. That's going to take a while. So, this is from one yard sale I ran across today in Fort Walton. And it was like all Dollar General stuff. But like I've mentioned before, I have gone into Dollar Generals before, and when I got to the counter, the shirts were like 1 penny, and I went, huh? And the lady told me, no, that's what they do. Instead of like toss it out, they mark it down, mark it down, mark it down. And I said, so you think all those shirts on those racks are 1 penny? She's like, yeah. Man, I told my daughter, I said, let's go back and get them all. So we got all of them, and I paid like $20 for tons and tons of shirts for 1 penny. Um, and they were beautiful short sleeve cotton women's summer shirts, button up. They were really nice. Anyway, I got these pants, uh, and these were $2. Retail's $12.50 on them actually. Still have tag on them, and they have the lace up side. So you sell that as new. Got another pair with the cutouts on the side. And I probably have one of each of these of my own, actually, that I bought on sale. $2. Tag still on it. They're like those little gym pants and stuff. And then this was interesting. I didn't even bring my phone to scan. I wasn't sure if these were Dollar General ones or not. These still have all the tags on them. They were $3 each. Big men's jeans, and large sizes in men's sell really well on eBay. It has all the tagging on it. And they're made by Mission Ridge. Got 2 pairs of those brand new with tags, and they were $3 a pair. Got these. I use these a lot to store my art supplies in at $1 for that. But these are Rubbermaid. You can get some at Dollar Tree, but they're not Rubbermaid. But these are Rubbermaid, and they're $1 in the package. I will use that myself. Always can use extra lint rollers. $1, brand new. I have to use those when I'm photographing stock and that. And then here's some little cup things, 25 cents. Okay. Can't beat that. Right here. Use that for my art supplies. And this is a handy item that I use for making stuff. Epoxy. Regular price $4. Got it for $1. Got 2 of them. So I use that for my art supplies. Because usually when I buy epoxy, I go to Walmart, and it's like $5 and up for epoxy. Now, this is something that sells really well as baseball caps. But these have the tags still on them. The authorized tags. And I've also got a Gators jacket that's new, but I'll have to sell it used because there's no tags. But I got Gators. These were, I think, $1 each. I got something that says Knowles on it. $1, all tagged. $1, got tags for all that. Now, here's the sad story. So I was actually looking for this other yard sale, and these are so beautiful. It's like less than half a bag. And so I was looking for this other yard sale because there were signs all over. So I went over to it and finally found it after I went to that one with all the Dollar General stuff. And I pull up the corner house. Nice little house, Fort Walton. Back behind the Uptown Station area, somewhere around in there. And the story was that, well, first of all, I go up and they had a whole bunch of stuff that was high dollar. Like $80, $60, $100 used. And some electronics. I said, you got any games? And he said, nope, they stole them all. Said just got robbed. They took my expensive backpack and stuffed all the games in that, everything they could, and split, and his gaming systems, and gone. And I'm like, dude. Then uh he said that, the house is owned by his dad, and his dad was there. Kind of a short walrusy kind of guy. He didn't seem very old. He seemed like maybe he was in his 60s, but he could have been older. And the guy looked like he was in his 20s to 30s. He could have been older. I don't know. Real nice guy. Used to be a flyboy at Eglin in his 20s, he said. And anyway, so the house is owned by his dad. His mom and dad moved down from Jersey, and uh, and then she passed away, I guess, after they moved here. And uh, he said, God, that big trailer over there. He said they were moving stuff in that trailer, driving back and forth, staying in hotels. The fuel costs, all the stuff. And he said most of the time the trailer was just filled with all of Mom's arts and crafts stuff she makes stuff, and she was making stuff with shells and all that kind of thing, and little ornament type things, decorative things for your house, little things. And he says it was so horrible moving all that stuff. He said the whole front room of this house right here, he said that room right there is loaded, boxes all the way to the ceiling with Mom's craft stuff. And I said, man, stuff's worth money. I said, you sell it or make the stuff or whatever. And he said, well, Dad's not the crafter, Mom was. He was just kind of like the general, he handled everything else. And I said, wow. And he said, God, I need him to get rid of it. He said, so I conned him into putting a few pieces in the yard sale. So, I immediately saw the craft stuff, and, I'm game for craft stuff now, especially stuff I can use. And there were shoe boxes, plastic shoe boxes, full. There was probably 12 shoe boxes full of like different kinds of shells. Like, one shoe box was like full of these big shells. And then he had a whole Ziploc bag of these beautiful shells. And they look like they've been shellacked or something. The color's real bright in them. And I was like, man. So he showed me this little photo album. He starts whooping it open, and he goes, yeah, my wife was a crafter. She died. I'm like, oh, God, sorry for your loss. And he starts flipping on the pages of stuff that's photographed doing it at shows, selling it or whatever, And he said, that, like, this stuff we made and this stuff we made. And so I said, okay, so I'm looking at the Ziploc bag full of those spotty-looking shells. And then I said, well, how much are the shells? And he goes, well, I'm not selling them all. And I'm thinking, why has this guy even got this stuff out here? And I said, okay, so, well, give me an idea. He said, well, make me an offer. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. So I said, well, okay, I'll take this shoe box that had all these in it, and then the Ziploc bag full of these shells. Let's see, I want to do mirrors. As soon as I can figure out how to do it right, I want to do mirrors. But I also use them in fish tanks. I love to put shells in fish tanks instead of sand. So I said, okay, well, just how much for this box? And he says, oh, no, I can't do that. And I said, okay, well, I mean, how much for the bag? Oh, no, I can't do that. And I said, well, I mean, okay, so how are we doing it? And so he says, well, I'll tell you what. You can take this whole Ziploc bag I'll give to you. You fill the whole thing up for $4, but you got to take like some out of all the little boxes, just some. I'm like, well, okay, I'll do that. So I didn't want all those shells because I don't like the little bitty ones and all that stuff. But there were some that were just tiny and they were colored and everything. And so I'd start picking, and it's like you're ripping his guts out every time you pick a shell up, right? I could feel it. And so I'm like, and then he goes, okay, look, that's probably good enough. You know, okay, $4. And before he said $3 for a whole full gallon bag, right? And I said, okay, fine. And so I give him that. Because really, if you go to the tourist stores, it's like $1 each for the shell. So I still made out like a bandit. But, he went back on his word, but he might have been Alzheimer's. I don't know. So anyway, I said, he had boxes of miniature lighthouses in the packages, little wood lighthouses, like 100 of them, a whole shoebox full of those. He had another shoebox full of dolphin ornaments, and they were all brand new. And I was like, okay, so how much? Well, I'm not selling them all. And I was like, so I'm looking around at some of this other stuff. And they had one tortoisey type shell, and it was only one of them like this big, and it reminded me when I was little, when my mother was a brownie troop leader for a short moment, and we did a craft where we had to make a turtle out of the shell with shells and pipe cleaners. It was really cool. And so I was telling him that story, and I said, "This is the only one you have like that." I said, "I'd probably save that if that's the only one you have." He said, "Yeah, you're probably right." And so he said, "Well, I'm not going to sell it then." And instead of walking it into the house, he just kind of hides it under some stuff. So anyway, I said, "Well, why don't you, he said, I'm not going to sell everything. This was my wife's stuff." And I said, "Well, then why don't you, get up every morning with a cup of coffee and make a couple items, and then you can, you know, sell them online on Macari or eBay." "Oh no, I would much rather do these craft shows like the one at the park." And so, but I said, "Well, then great." And he said, "But I'm kind of busy." And his son says, "Yeah, we got this boat here." So they had a real nice little speedboat. And I said, "Oh, fishing." I said, "I love fishing. Even if you don't catch a fish, it's a lot of fun." And he said, "Well, I don't fish." I said, "Oh." And he says, "I merely cast." He said, I'm not taking any fish. I just cast." I said, "Well, that's a lot of hard work on the back, but I mean, if that's your thing, cool." And uh, you know, he says, "Well, that's what I like to do." And I said, "Great." I said, "But you still need to do something." I said, "If you really have your heart in that and you really don't like selling that stuff, then I would get up in the morning and start making things with all those crafts and sell them and carry on your wife's, journey, by doing that." I said, "Because sitting around is just taking up space and it's not doing you any good." And so it was kind of disappointing. And I talked to the son for a little bit, and I probably should have told the son, I went over there like 3 times and tried to buy stuff from him, and he was just like, he really didn't want to sell it. And I was like, "Why is this stuff even out here?" But the son had told me something like, "I'm trying to get him to sell the stuff." He said, "I convinced him to do a yard sale today, so I brought out all this stuff and got him to bring a little bit of that stuff." He said, "You have no clue how much we have." He said, "A whole room full to the ceiling." He said, "I wish he would get rid of it because he'll never do anything with it." And I'm like, "Man, I wish he'd sell it to me." and he said, "Well, I could get him to bring this much out." But see, I didn't tell him, well, he won't sell it. But it was really a bummer. And it was a kind of a downer, to go through all the depressing stuff about death and I mean, it was just, I mean, bottom line, if you don't want to sell it, don't put it out there, because you're making me feel bad if I ask how much it is and you give me this big long story and show me pictures and your wife died and, you don't want to sell the stuff. It's just like, So, yeah. So I, visited with him for a minute and then I left. But man, I was so hoping, to jackpot on that because he had a lot. And if he'd have sold it, for a few bucks a box, I would have bought it in a heartbeat and loaded it in my car. And I would have been ready to start doing big mirrors because I've got some in the storage that I really want to decorate. And there's somebody I want to say thank you to. And I thought I would like to make them the first mirror, make it, and decorate it and give it to them as a thank you because they have been very kind to me in my journey here for the past year. But anyway, so well, rained on that parade. But anyway, so there's some cool things to resell on eBay. If you can get the stuff new with tags, you're way better off. Um, because you sell it at market rate. They'll do that and pay for shipping too. It's amazing. I used to always sell under market rate on eBay, but you can sell on market rate today mostly because people don't want to drive anymore. Gas is too high. They'd rather order and have it shipped to the house. It's like Christmas every day. And so yeah, you can get the 100% market rate. So there you are. And I got more that I needed to film yesterday. But I was so tired. I vlogged for like 2 hours yesterday, trying to show you guys some cool finds. But again, the yard sales are so much cheaper than these secondhand stores today because they've priced themselves out of the market. Um, and I discussed that in some of yesterday's vlogs. And I even when I went back to Waterfront Mission today, they had like half off sale on some of that um TY Beanie Baby things. And I found one that was like virtually near but kind of faded. Like it'd been sitting on a shelf near a window or something. But when it's faded, that looks used. So and I was gonna buy that, and it was retailed at $19 for a little tiny one. And I was like, and even with it half off, it's still not worth it to me because that particular one used goes for $6. So it's not worth it to me. My gas, my time, and my money being tied up till it's sold, and to list it to make $3 or something, it's not worth it to me. I don't want it. Forget it. That's not worth it. So yeah, no, I'm not into doing penny ante stuff. It's just not worth my time, especially taking the time to photograph and list. It all takes time, you know. It takes almost 30 minutes to write one ad and photograph and the whole thing and get it up online. And it's just not worth it to me. So, but if I can make, $20 or up per item, I'm a happy camper, okay? Because most of everything I do sell is new, other than this new stock I've picked up in the past month. But I have tons to sell, trust me. Tons and tons to sell, so I can get this liquidated out, and then I'll be getting ready to relocate, um, because time is money, and this is not my kind of lifestyle. So, but anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you.